Here a video on the La Bataille de Schoengrabern 1805. It's a free print and play download from the Marshal Enterprises website, which I believe is labataille, all one word, .me. You can download the Premier Rules, which is the La Bataille version. From the La Bataille series, it's the Marshal Enterprises version of the rules set. So it's not like this Regulations of the Year or Marie-Louise. It's simpler than that. It's more like the original 1970s rule set with some command instructions baked in. You get 21 pages of special scenario rules with it. So the main feature is of this battle is this huge vineyard, tightly tangled vines. Obviously they're in lines, but troops moving through either way are going to have a lot of difficulty to retain cohesion. So you get special rules for the vineyard. You get you get historical background, and then special unit type rules. So you have elite infantry. On the French side, you have Russian dragoons, Russian Jaegers, Russian Cossacks, and artillery special rules, fords, and also night rules, because we have the turn track here. The game starts at 4 p.m. and at the 1740 turn we enter dusk, and at the 1840 turn we begin night. So most of the battle, half the battles historically fought during dusk, and some of it at night and in freezing cold temperatures. So this white background is very suitable to evoke that snow-laden battlefield. So we have orders of battle, and then we have special, as is typical. We have each scenario. There's 3 print and play games available at the moment on that site, and each one has all the carrier realization, terrain defense, etc. Everything you need specific to the rules and to that battle. And then intriguingly, this we have scenario 1. Now I don't know if I've downloaded this a long time ago, haven't played it until now. So we have scenario 1. I don't know if there is another scenario which I failed to download, although I've got all of the 21 pages. So I don't know what another scenario of this battle would be, but I know it's a bit of a habit of the Marshal Enterprises website that they offer these free print and plays, which are a portion of then a larger release which they sell as a boxed game. So perhaps this is a scenario from a larger boxed game offered as a free print and play, which is wonderful for anyone who wants to try out the system. So let's have a closer look at the combatants. Okay, so essentially at setup we have General Oudinot and a regiment of grenadiers. They're broken down into 2 battalions there, and some artillery. Now I've set them up. The artillery are set up unlimbered on this slight rise. There's a rise here which gives them view to any hex within the vineyard. On the other side you'll see there's lots of rises there, and the although the Russians only have a single artillery unit, but obviously each side can fire artillery as units traverse the vineyard there. So and these battalions of grenadiers have set up in general order. I'm not sure if I faced them correctly. I think they might actually face a hex side when in general order, because to move through the vineyard you have to be in general or skirmish order, and it costs a lot of movement points either way, and you can only ever bring so many increments to bear in combat. So it's going to be interesting as they try to cross through that, especially because these things here will represent hidden units. So essentially there are, I think, 6 dummy counters allowed, and then any other units that are set up in the vineyard are concealed at game start. So Oudinot has that. I've on the first turn there's reinforcements of who's that, of Sebastiani with some hussars and some cavalry, more cavalry, so 3 cavalry regiments there, and then also 2 more regiments on a fortunate roll. 2 more of Oudinot's elite grenadiers are arriving. Now the rest of the French all arrive via reinforcement, and in fact what you do is the grenadiers were in this box for the start of the game, and you roll a die. On a 1 they enter, and then the next turn you roll again. On a 1 or 2 or they enter, and then a 1, 2 or 3 they enter. So they're not likely to enter this early. They're most likely to enter around dusk and night, which is going to make things quite interesting. So we have, essentially what we have is we have Legrand from the 4th Corps, the 3rd Division, and he on the turn track there has got 1, 2, 3, 4 regiments represented. One's just a light regiment with 2 breakdown units, and the others are line regiments, some of them with 2, some with 3 breakdown units. Then Oudinot has these ones are the broken down ones on the map, so he's got 2 more grenadiers and 2 elite regiments coming on. And then there's Suchet, who has 1 light and 1, 2, 3, 4 line regiments to bring on. And so these are all French, and these, although they're green, they're actually French chasseurs de cheval, so they are part of Sebastiana's command. They will come on later. And there's just a late arriving fellow from the 5th Corps, which is Oudinot and Suchet. Now over to the French side, we have Bagration in command. He's got an aide called Polinsky, and Witzingerode is I think he's attached, or he's a messenger from the Tsar. So he comes via the Tsar. Then under Bagration's command is Ulanius, who has this Jaeger, 6th Jaeger Regiment, and these 2 cavalry regiments, quite weak, you see, compared to the German one, slightly weaker at least. Then we have Major leaders with the Little Russian Grenadier Regiment, the Kiev Regiment, Grenadier Regiment, and Novgorod Musketeer Battalion there. Then moving further down we have Strik, who has Narva Musketeer Battalion and Azov Musketeer Regiment and Podolia Musketeer Regiment. So the ones that actually regiments have breakdown counters, if they're lone like that, they obviously have no further breakdown. And then finally they have Penitsky, variously spelt with an I or an Y, and he's got the Chernigrov Dragoons, the Pavlograd Hussars, and some light artillery there. And not forgetting, finally we have Graf Nositz, the Austrian fellow, and his Hesse-Hamburg Hussars, who were in battle the day before and arresting it out in Guntersdorf there. So this is the terrain, quite clear, some pine woods, and then this horrific vineyard to move through. Now it's an observation to make of these print and play offerings, free offerings from the Marshal Enterprises website. Although they give you a chance to try out their games, and they're like a nice little offering, they do not present kind of classic situations. So this, as you see, is a very particular situation. You've got reinforcements arriving, having to cross through this complicated vineyard system before you could get to any kind of clear normal battle Obviously, cavalry would be no good here. That the Russians have some of their dragoons, some other units deployed at start. I will show that a bit later. And yes, so it's a kind of particular situation. So you've got the basic rules, and then you have to take into account these special rules, which add extra complications to this game. So it's not ideal in that respect for a beginner. But I have to say that the other two free games on offer at the moment, there's the Polish one, I forgot, Radzik, something like that, and that essentially the map's about the same size. Essentially, it's quite clear terrain. You have a town over here, and then a heavy river running across the map, and the Polish forces are on this side, part of the French Empire, and Austrian forces are on this side. And the Austrians have to effect a river crossing against the Polish defenders. So again, it's not really a classic battle situation, a particular situation. And then there's also the Halle, which is represents again a river crossing and then town fighting before you have like a more open portion of the map. So they're all there for free, but they're not necessarily the easier sort of starter games for the Premier rules, but they do give you a chance to get into it. So I'm going to stop this video here now, and I will come back after I have, or maybe during the French setup, just some commentary on there, or after it, I'm not sure yet.